Hello and welcome to the Chicago Movement for Our People's Party YouTube channel. This is our first video. My name is Sammy Kays. I'm one of the founding members of this Chicago chapter of Movement for Our People's Party, or MPP for short. I guess you could say I'm a member of the steering committee, organizing committee, or whatever you want to call it. No video of me today. I'll put some visuals up on here, but expect some video in the future. But yeah, it's not really important who I am so much. As an organizer, I like to think of myself as an initiator and a facilitator, not a boss or anything like that. And I think other members of the steering committee of this chapter would agree that's our role. We're going to have lots of different stuff on this channel, but occasionally I'll be on here with some sort of explainer or journalism sort of thing. So for this first video, I basically want to say just what Movement for Our People's Party, MPP, is, and also what it is not. So let's start with what it is. And after looking into the whole thing and becoming a part of it, here's what I came up with. Movement for Our People's Party is a political organization, but not in the same way that our revolution is a political organization, or Democratic Socialists of America is a political organization, or so on. Nor is Movement for Our People's Party a political party. It is not a party, nor is it starting a party. MPP is working to establish infrastructure for a new party, but it's not a party, and it is not starting the People's Party, or whatever it would ultimately be called. The main purpose of this organization is to build a coalition that will ultimately come together to create a new political party. This coalition would be comprised of groups that already exist, both the organizations and the voters. Here's the thing. We know we live in a rigged political system, and a third party is very difficult to get off the ground. Look at the Green Party and others. The Green Party, for example, I personally like the Green Party. It was similar, they have a similar platform as the Bernie 2016 platform, which was good. They got, 1 to 2% of the vote in the 2016 elections against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, two of the most hated candidates in U.S. political history, definitely in modern political history. So I'm not saying that's a failure of the Green Party. It's partially a problem with the Green Party and other independent parties, but even more than that, it's a problem with the political system. Okay, so it's hard to start a third party in this country for a lot of reasons. So the idea of MPP is to take all the people who want a new party and agree with a broad framework of values and coalesce this into a political party that is structurally actually democratic, of the people, by the people, for the people. We are building a coalition that will create a party that is not only democratic in name, but at its very core, which the Democratic Party is not. The existing Democratic Party is highly undemocratic, and we believe it will not fundamentally change. That's a different episode, many different episodes for a different day, but that's what we believe. There's a lot of evidence for that, historically and right now. So independents are the largest voting bloc by far. At least half of those are progressive on the issues, like Bernie Sanders type policies. At least half of independents would have voted for Bernie Sanders in the general election in 2016. Also, about half the Democratic Party voted for Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primaries. Even with all the shenanigans that took place, he won almost half of the states. About half of the Democratic voter base does not even like the Democratic Party. They reluctantly vote to stop Republicans more than they vote for what they actually want from a political party, and what they want in terms of policy, what they want the society to look like. their community to look like. There's a huge number of political and community organizations, including the Green Party, other small parties that are on board with a real progressive agenda, something that the Democratic Party has worked to shut down over decades and will continue to shut down within their party. So we want to bring together unions, organizations, independents, non-voters, students, the youth, and so on, the majority of this country really, put it together into a structurally new party with a new brand and a new way of operating politically. As a number one rule, we will refuse corporate and billionaire money. Of course, there will be so much more to it. It will be fundamentally democratic, is very important. MPP did write a platform and voted on it, but it is temporary and flexible. The MPP platform is a lot like the Bernie 2016 platform. In some ways, it goes further in a good way. It's an example of our values, and it's essentially a list of what most the American people want. So it's like stuff, if we actually lived in a democratic society, most, if not all, of the stuff in the MPP platform, just like in the Bernie 2016 platform, would become policy. That would become, our government, and our programs, our economy, our communities, our workplace. So these are things that the Democratic Party will not give to us. It's what we will not get by attempting to break our way into a fundamentally corporate centrist party, center-right, maybe even right-wing. It depends on the context. That clearly, the Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party, they're not the same, but they're very similar, controlled by a very similar group of people. Both parties clearly, it's not debatable, prioritize profits over people, capitalists over workers, and war over peace. And the thing is, nobody really wants that, except for a few people. All right? So in that way, we're building a movement that will work toward a party for the 99%. We are building a coalition of labor and the left. That's the vast majority of Americans, people who work, working toward a broad tent party of labor and the left, something akin to what the Democratic Party says it is, but isn't really, so that we can finally oppose the right wing and also work urgently and diligently and seriously and transparently toward a truly free and democratic society. The evidence is on our side that the Democratic Party will not be taken over, nor will they concede more than the minimum of what their corporate overlords will allow. This is clear, historically, and right now, even while Trump is in office. It is clear. We also understand that while the Green Party, various unions, and other organizations have failed to challenge the political establishment in this country, together, if we unite in a coalition, we can absolutely create a new party that will outsize both of the existing major parties, because the people outnumber by far those who actually want the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. The policies, the leaders, the structure, okay? So we will accomplish this, creating of a new party by building a movement outside and independent of the Democratic Party. And it does not just hinge on one person like Bernie Sanders, especially not for one race like the 2020 presidential elections. All right? We don't know how that's going to go. We saw what happened in 2016. They cheated them. They're probably going to do it again. Okay, maybe they won't. But we can't depend on him becoming president. And if he becomes president, like he's said over and over and over again, it's not about him. It's about us. We have to build a movement, even if he gets into office. If he gets into office or not, There needs to be a movement of millions and millions of people, okay, that will pressure either party. So that's my take on what Movement for a People's Party is. Even more than a single political organization, it is a political organization whose purpose is to build a coalition of labor and the left that will ultimately come together and create a new party. So that is the organization. But even more than that, it is a strategy. Movement for a People's Party is a strategy overall. Above all, it is a strategy. So you can join our organization, help build the coalition, which is our main mission, or you can do it in other ways. The most important part is that we build this coalition, that we come together and create a new party. We're on the clock with climate change, war, automation, and so many other things. If you're into what I'm saying, you can either do it on your own in some way with some organization, or you can go to forpeoplesparty.org and sign up to donate or volunteer or whatever you can do, whatever you can contribute. Here in Chicago, our website is chicagompp.org. That's Chicago Movement for People's Party.org, MPP, no spaces. I'll put both these links in the video description below. On the front page, you can sign up to receive emails whenever there's important news. We will try not to email you too much whenever there's something really important and local events that are taking place. And there will be a calendar on the website as well that you can look up at any time. You can also sign up to volunteer and become more directly involved with our chapter. Just like Bernie Sanders said in 2016, his campaign was about us, not him. Similarly, the Movement for a People's Party is not about a single person. It's not about a single organization, even ours. Those can be defeated because they're working alone. Just like we're seeing in the 2018 primary elections, the Democratic primaries. When we work alone, we lose. When we work together, that's when we have a chance. So MPP is more than an organization, it is a strategy, and I believe it is the right strategy. And I believe it is the last hope for a nonviolent political revolution, since the Democratic Party has made it quite clear that they're probably not going to be fundamentally reformed. It is very unlikely, and we're preparing for that possibility.
And now let me tell you something that no other candidate for president will tell you. And that is, no matter who is elected to be president, that person will not be able to address the enormous problems facing the working families of our country. They will not be able to succeed because the power of corporate America, the power of Wall Street, the power of campaign donors is so great that no president alone can stand up to them. That is the truth. People may be uncomfortable about hearing it, but that is the reality. And that is why what this campaign is about is saying loudly and clearly, it is not just about electing Bernie Sanders for president. It is about creating a grassroots political movement in this country.